He didn't come for the music. He didn't come for the message. He came for a moment. Just one. A moment to sit in silence, where no one expected anything from him. His name was Thomas, but he hadn't heard that name in months. People called him, Sir, Hey You, or just, nothing at all. Life had taken more from him than it ever gave. His job? Gone. His family? Distant. His faith? Hanging on by a thread. He walked into the church one day, not because he believed in it, but because it was open and warm. He sat in the last row. Not because he wanted to hide, but because he didn't want to interrupt. The preacher's voice boomed with fire. The choir's robes danced with praise. The crowd lifted their hands high. But Thomas just sat still. Not resisting. Not accepting. Just tired. He watched how everyone greeted their friends, but no one turned his way. He saw the hugs. The smiles. The handshakes. But not one of them reached him. Still, he came back the next week. And the next. And the next. Not because he found God there, but because he was hoping God might find him. Then one Sunday, everything shifted. He came in, as usual. Same seat. Same silence. Same space. But this time, she was there. An older woman, maybe in her 70s. Small frame. Soft smile. Quiet presence. She looked at him and said 3 words he hadn't heard in a long time.
Mind if I sit?
He nodded. She sat. And for the next hour, said nothing. Not one word. But it was the loudest kindness he'd ever heard. The next week, she came again. Same question. Same seat. Same silence. Then, one day, she brought him a sandwich. Just handed it over and said, I thought you might be hungry. He wasn't just hungry for food. He was starving for connection. And she served him both. They began to talk after service. Slowly. Carefully. She never asked about his past. She asked about his heart. She didn't quote scripture. She lived it. And for the first time in a long time, Thomas felt seen. She told him her name was Grace. How fitting. Because that's what she gave, freely, fully, without asking anything in return. Over time, Grace introduced him to others. Not loudly. Not forcefully. But gently. This is my friend, Thomas, she'd say. And just like that, people began to see him. One day, the pastor called for testimonies. Thomas stood up. His legs shaking. I never thought I'd speak in a church, he began. But someone sat beside me, when no one else did. And now I know. God never left me. The church was silent. Not because they didn't care, but because they finally heard him. After the service, people hugged him. Really hugged him. Not because of what he said, but because of who he had become. Weeks passed. Then months. Grace became more than a friend. She became family. Until one Sunday, she didn't come. Then the next. And the next. Thomas asked around. He found out Grace had passed peacefully in her sleep. He sat in their row, alone, but this time, not lonely. Because her grace lived on in him. And now, he knew what to do. The next Sunday, someone new sat in the last row. Head down. Alone. Unsure. Thomas walked over, smiled, and said, Mind if I sit? And just like that, Grace continued. Because sometimes, the loudest sermons are whispered in the quiet corners of a room. And maybe, the last row isn't the end. Maybe, it's where healing begins. He was no longer the man in the last row. He was part of the body. The family. The story.